Hi, I'm here with Debra Zabloudil.
Yes, that's right.
Very good. From the Learning Studio Incorporated, President and CEO. Great,
Right.
great to have you. Thanks for joining us here at IMEX.
Great to be here.
I know you're very busy, so thanks for stopping by for a quick video interview. You've got 4 sessions at IMEX, or there are 5 now?
There's 5 actually.
5, because
Yes.
you're running off to the World Cafe very
I
shortly,
am.
right?
I am.
Excellent. So you cover all sorts of topics. You've got leadership with a rock and roll twist. You've got presentation skills, generation gap, pitching and sales skills. So how did you kind of master these? How did you evolve to kind of work on all these great topics?
Well, just like a lot of folks do, when you are in the business of education, you do a lot of research. We are constantly working with our clients to help develop content for them. So we decided to start developing content for us. And these are topics that really I think are important to audiences like this. Everyone needs to think about the generations because it affects the products and services that we produce. We have to think about how we're marketing to the generations. We need to pay special attention to Gen Y, which is what we're talking about in the World Cafe, because we're struggling as sort of a society on how to really develop and market to Gen Y right now. So,
okay, Gen Y, let's pick up on that topic actually. Is it as scary as it sounds? Because I mean, I've seen all this research about, Gen Y, they don't really pay attention to anything. They're very, they question everything. How do we manage that? How do workplaces manage that?
Workplaces need to rethink a lot of what they're doing. So I wouldn't say it's scary as much as it's a charge that we absolutely have to think about why we're doing what we're doing. Is it going to work for this new generation? Should we be developing and delivering differently? Are we as tech savvy as we should be?
Okay.
Can we hold their attention as long as we'd like?
Let me ask you something. Do then companies have to adapt to the new generation, or does the new generation have to adapt to companies?
I would say the statistics show that companies are going to have to adapt to the new generation. By 2025, 75% of the workforce will be Gen Y millennial. That's only 11 years. So for anyone that plans on working in 11 years, they're going to be, lots of Gen Y people and millennials in their audience. And also, these are not folks that tend to stay in jobs long. Most, I think it's 60% have moved on within 2 years.
Wow.
Of any job that they have. And on day one, over 50% are already thinking about applying for their next job. Day one of their job, they're already thinking about the new job. So we have to capture their hearts and their minds and their attention, and as show organizers, certainly they may be jumping industries. So there's for associations,
so
when we talk,
segmentation would probably be harder to do.
Very hard to do, and I think if we're looking at associations that represent professional interests and professional fields, we have to capture them, and not just have them view it as a job, but as a profession, much younger than we've done in previous generations.
So what about leadership? Does leadership have to change in order to adapt to this? Because I think the two topics are actually more related than they seem.
Yeah, I think they are too. I definitely think leadership needs to adapt to it, and it depends on what kinds of leaders we have. We tend to see leaders in most organizations are baby boomers for the most part. We have some that are Gen X that are now filling the roles of baby boomers as the baby boomers are retiring. But there's not enough of them because it's not as big a generation. So we have these Gen Y millennials that are jumping into leadership and are not yet prepared. So as leaders of companies, I think it's really important to look really deeply within the company and to really start helping young potentials with leadership skills and leadership support.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a different topic. Presentations, pitching. I mean, that's what IMEX is all about. You have half an hour to present your product, to pitch. I mean, how do you stand out in one of those? I mean, when you're doing that all day, what are your tips there?
I always I just did a 30-minute presentation on this over at the Inspiration Center, and what I tell people is there's really different phases. You need to get creative. You need to get all your creative juices flowing when you're putting a presentation together. You need to think about practicing practicing, practicing, practicing. So if it's something that you know, are pitching to someone here, you know, and you want the presentation to go a certain way, you need to think how the visuals will support that. You need to think about how do you capture their attention. I like using startling statistics or stories or, you know, those kinds of things. And then how do you wrap it up at the end? You know, is there a nice close?
So there should be a flow. There should be a story that kind of ends.
Absolutely. And when it comes to pitching, a lot of what we talk about in that course is that you're not just pitching to a buyer, you're not just pitching ideas to your boss, but it's getting the buy-in of everyone involved. And how do you make a pitch successful? It's by really understanding your audience, always, and then it's also by making sure that you have the right people at the table and the right people presenting with you.
Okay.
And there's a whole host of things we get into, but it's really important when a new idea or a new product is being presented to really do it the right way, make sure that the right people are standing in front of the room, and sometimes you're not the right person.
Okay.
So it takes a lot of self-reflection.
I think when you're pitching for a big conference, it's important to select the right person to be the lead on the pitch.
That's right.
You can't just, you know,
That's
the
right.
most senior person is not necessarily the right person.
That's
to
exactly
pitch.
right. That's right.
Okay. Excellent. So thank you very much for joining us. Is there anything else that you're doing at IMEX besides speaking in so many different places?
Well, I'm definitely connecting with some friends. I'm meeting a lot of great new people. I just love the international mix of the show. Has been really fantastic. So I'm meeting people from all around the world and just, you know, enjoying this great city of Frankfurt as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's
Thanks
a pleasure
for
to have
having
you.
me. Thanks so much.